Hello, everyone. We'll be starting the session soon. Please bear with us as we prepare the session to start. Thank you for being here. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the session. As we wait for some more participants to join, we'll begin with some quick introductions here. Some of you have been attending this masterclass series for quite a while, and I thank you all for being so consistent with us. Some of you are here for the first time, so thank you so much for joining in. We have had several other series in the past since October 2023, and we are going to have more sessions till April. So if you are interested to check out the past sessions, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can check the past sessions there. Also, you can look out for more sessions for March and April as well. So without further ado here, allow me to introduce the hosting organization. So our hosting organization is GSDC, that is Global Skill Development Council, and we are a vendor-agnostic, international recognized credentialing and certification organization. And we have been accredited by ANSI and ABICB, that is American National Standards Institute and American Board of International Certification Bodies. We have over 100 plus certification on our portfolios, and we are dedicated in introducing generative AI in all the fields for all the learners across the globe. So if you are interested to check all these certifications, feel free to go to our website and check all the list of the certifications under generative AI that we are offering. We will leave the link on the chat box. Just to note that we are also partnered with over 100 plus global training partners. Some of you are here through our partner channel, and thank you to those who are to our partners who are here as well. If you would like to learn more about the certificates, then do reach out to our partners in your region, and they will help you and guide you with that. We are also partnered with 500 plus SMEs and 1,000 plus national corporations. Also around global universities, some few global universities are also here. So thank you so much. As I mentioned, the training partners, thank you for being here, and thank you for all the support to our partners. We will be sharing the link to join our partner channel as well. You can find your designated region partner if you need information about the courses. A big shout out to our patrons. Without our patrons, we won't be here with over 1,000 plus registrations for the Masterclass series. So thank you so much for always sharing our services for our events and these platforms that we have. And if you would like to join our Patreon program, then please feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn or email us, and we will love to have you there. A big shout out to our official media partner as well, WordPress Hub. Thank you for always covering for us. Here we have a portfolio of the GSDC certifications. You can find the full list on the website, just to show you that we don't only deal with generative AI, but a whole list of IT certified, IT concentrated certifications. So you can check this on our website as well. For now, we have the GSDC Generative AI booming right now, so we are working on this. And a good news for all of you attending here, that you will be receiving a complimentary $200 GSDC voucher from us. Right after the event is over, you can claim this voucher so that you can get the exam, you can get the resources, and you will be able to certify yourself in the Generative AI Foundation course with GSDC. Once you get the certificate from us, you will get a lifelong membership, and through the lifelong membership, you get access to all our events, and also you get to upgrade your certificate if that is needed. So you can always get a complimentary voucher to upgrade your GSDC certificates. Also, a quick announcement that we will have a gamification session right after the Q&A session is over. So we will listen to the speaker, we will learn together, and we will be listening to the conversation and answering as well. So right after that, we will play the games focused on the topic that we have. And I request everyone and invite everyone to join us for this gamification round. There will be a $400 word certification up for the first winner. And for the second and the third winner, they will be able to join the first winner on the GSDC Wall of Fame. So look out for that, and we will catch up after the speaker is done with the presentation. So here, without further ado, please allow me to introduce our speaker for today. We are very honored that Mr. Dan was able to make time for us. Dan Fitzpatrick is the founder and co-director of Third Box, and he is an AI optimist, a best-selling author, an international speaker, and a strategic consultant. And we are so glad that you could be here. So thank you so much, Dan, for being with us. Just before I give you the time here, I would like to let the participants know that we will have a 15-minute Q&A session with Dan. So stay with us until the end, and you can connect with him later on as well. So yeah, Dan, you can have the time now. I will stop my screen sharing here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. It's great to be with you and to share this next hour and a bit with you. I'm as you can probably tell from my accent already, I am in the UK, so I'm currently in the north of England. I'll just share my screen here. Let me click here. There we go. And share. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. So yeah, so I'm in a beautiful place called Berwick upon Tweed, which is on the Scottish border with England. So right in the northeast corner of England, just as you get to Scotland, there's a small walled town. So I'm spending a few days up here writing my next book on strategy for the AI age. But yeah, so let me tell you a bit about who I am before we jump into this. So I was a teacher for a number of years. So I was a high school teacher and then moved into digital strategy for a group of colleges and university, where it was my job to kind of keep the group ahead of the game. So we invested a lot. This is about 3 or 4 years ago. We invested a lot in virtual reality, augmented reality, and so on to get the students prepared for the type of technologies they were going to be using and experiencing and needed skills for once they went into industry and into work. So did that for a few years. And while I was doing that, we started to look at generative AI. Now, this is before the release of ChatGPT. And there was a lot of promise around what might come in the next 5, maybe even 10 years' time. Little did we know, like any of us, I guess, the impact that ChatGPT would have around the world and how it would completely transform artificial intelligence in terms of consumer tools. It would transform pretty much every all of the biggest businesses in the world. Now, the priority of pretty much every innovative business is AI, and it would start to transform how we work, how we live, and how we play as well. And I think we're going to see more and more of that start to filter down in the next few years. So yeah, so thank you for that introduction. I spend a lot of my time now traveling the world. I'm very privileged. I get to go and work with amazing organizations, mainly educational organizations, with some businesses as well, to help them grasp this technology and start to implement it and then strategize for the next few years. And I'm not going to get into that strategy in this session, but just to kind of give you a bit of an insight into it, it's all around how do we strategize for a future that we have no idea what is going to look like, because we can kind of guess what some of this technology is going to bring us in the next couple of years, let's say 3 years, maybe even 5 years. But going beyond that, we're going to be living in a very different world. So how do we start strategizing for things that we can't even predict? So yeah, I get to spend a lot of time with great people and helping their organizations to do that. Um, as was mentioned, my first book is specifically on education, as is my next one. The third one will be more towards the individual and kind of self-improvement. But if you are involved in education or you've got children who are in school, I think I've got two kids, and you always want to know kind of what the education system around them is doing, and it might prompt you to try and push their school or their college, wherever they are, to using this technology and helping them build the skills for that. So whenever I start a talk like this, some of you might have heard this quote. I always use it, and I've used it for a number of years now, even before I started talking very narrowly on AI like I do at the moment. And that is, we'll experience more technological progress in the coming decade than we did in the preceding 100 years put together. Now, I used to use this, and I think I used to just think it was hyperbole. It was an exaggeration to make a point that things are going to change. Technology is going to have a big impact over the next few years. But I don't think I fully understood this quote until the end of November 2022, when ChatGPT was released by OpenAI. And then playing with that for the first few times, this quote suddenly came to life. And you probably had similar moments where you start to think, wait a minute, if this technology is integrated into this tool or to this platform or to this technology in my home or how we do things at work, then this is going to blow our minds. This is going to really advance what we're doing. It's going to change how we interact with technology, and it's going to change the technology we have. And then add on that the layer of progress that what we've got now and what we had back in November 2022 wasn't staying still. It was moving so fast, and the progress that we've had since, and the progress that is predicted to happen in the next few years, then I think this quote could be absolutely true. And I think it will be. I think we're staring over the edge of a cliff at the minute, and there's a lot of great things to come and a lot of challenges. I think we're going to have to step up to the challenges that will come with it as well. But let's now focus down on what we're going to be talking about specifically today, because as I'm sure you will be aware, using these tools already, which I know some of you will be, is that we don't have to wait. We know change is going to come, and some fast progress will happen, but we don't have to wait to start getting these tools to work for us now, to utilize them. And that's what I want to focus on today. How do we pull back the layers, go back to the core of what these tools are, how we interact with these tools, and how we get the most out of them so that they can transform, like I said before, how we work, how we learn, and how we play as well. So ChatGPT, let's do a quick intro. What is going on here? Because, and I know there are other tools, and I'll probably jump into Google Gemini, which is the equivalent of ChatGPT for Google, because I really like it. I think it's really good. ChatGPT still tends to be considered the best, the most accurate when it comes to making errors, and so on. So I tend to use this, and it started off kind of this new era that we find ourselves in. So I tend to use ChatGPT quite a bit. So if you're somebody who uses another tool, Copilot, Gemini, Claude, well, all the different ones out there, just know when I'm talking about ChatGPT, I'm kind of using it as a bit of a catch-all term. But let's specifically go for ChatGPT right now. So releases 2022. Why is it so different? I mean, we've had good AI. I mean, if you've had a smartphone in your pocket, you've had really good AI for the best part of the last 10 years. So what makes this different? Well, and I'm only going to speak in broad strokes here. So if you're really technically minded and you know kind of a lot about this, then forgive me, but I'm gonna talk in really broad strokes. And that is a lot of the AI we've had previously has been there to give us insights into data, to learn about data and give us insights. So why is this different? Why, since it was released, is it in the news, in newspapers, uh, pretty much every day? Because this is not the same. This is generative. So again, in broad strokes, it gives us new data or new content or new material or new media. And that's where the key to the transforming power of what we have so far with these tools is. How can it do that? Well, as I'm sure a lot of you will know, we'll jump into it in a second. It can understand human language and it can respond in human language too. And therefore, it can simulate a human conversation. And that's really important. And it goes to kind of what I was saying before about the how it's going to change how we interact with it. We don't need special skills now to interact with one of the most advanced technologies there is, because all we need to do is talk to it in our natural language. So let's jump into this. So I'm going to just quickly come down and we're going to go over to ChatGPT. If you've never used ChatGPT before, then as you can see here, and I think you can see that. As you can see here, it looks a bit like a WhatsApp conversation, maybe a Facebook Messenger conversation. Looks very simple. In fact, Sam Altman, who is the creator of this tool, he's the CEO of OpenAI, says that he thinks ChatGPT is awful. So this is the guy who created it. It's very basic. It's very basic, and you just type into it. So I'll type in hello, and it's been being a bit slow this morning. Oh, it's great. So here we go. So hello, how can I assist you today? So straight away, not talking to a human, talking to one of the most advanced bits of technology ever created, and all I have to do is use natural human language. And that's going to be one of the things I stress today about using natural human language to get what we need out of these tools. So why don't we ask it? Shall we? Considering it's GSDC who are organizing this, let's ask it, tell me about the Global Skill Development Council. Give it a couple of seconds and there we go. So it's starting to reply to me. So it's understood what I've said. It has started to reply. And there we go. It's given some great detail. And judging on what I know by the GSDC so far, it seems to be fairly accurate. We get a citation at the end there, so it's taken this information from their website. Note it hasn't copied and pasted the information. It's went and learnt the information and it wrote it in its own words. So I'm using ChatGPT 4, which is the paid version, which can go and search the internet. And I think that's about $20 per month. In my view, well worth it. I sometimes think if they randomly put the price up to $100 a month, I'd probably still try to afford it, because of the impact that this has and the extra features that you get with the paid version. But the free version is still amazing, and you get very, very similar results when it comes to the text side of these tools. Now we can ask it to be creative as well. So let me type something in like, write a poem about GSDC. And here we go. So straight away you can see it's writing in verses, poetry verses. It's rhyming as well. And so it knows a lot about poetry, and it's able to take the information and be creative with it and write a poem, as we can see there. And really, really quickly. Then I might type in, let's try, imagine a workshop by GSDC of people from all over the world learning about AI. Now create an image to represent this. And with the paid version of ChatGPT, it will create images as well. So as you can see here, it's thinking about what this might look like. Who knows what it's going to look like? And it's going to create an image. This will be a unique image that nobody has ever seen before. It is creating it right now as we speak. And there we go. Yeah. The first thing that's jumped out to me and might have jumped out to you as well is, even though I asked for a global audience, it doesn't look like a very diverse group of people. And we're going to come back to that. We're going to come back to how might we combat these tools so that they are diverse in their representation of images and content as well. But there we go, very easy in just a few seconds to be able to do that. How can it do it? How on earth can this technology do it? Well, there's a number of factors. And again, I'm going to speak in very broad strokes for everybody. Some of the technology is taken big leaps. One part of the technology is how it makes connections between a lot of the information it has been trained on. Another big part of it is that we've just got masses of data now. If you think the internet has been hoarding information for the best part of 25 years now. And so we've just got so much information. We've got the world's wisdom on there, the world's knowledge, as well as maybe some knowledge that we might not be so proud of, but whatever it is, it's pretty much on there. So using the internet and the vast amounts of information is what makes this technology very accurate. And I mean, let's look at some of the numbers. ChatGPT 3.5, which is the free version, is trained on approximately 300 billion words worth of information. Because those numbers are quite difficult to grasp. So let's think of it like this. So when we read a book, we read about 100 words every 30 seconds. Okay, 100 words every 30 seconds. If we read at that rate and just kept going and going and going, didn't take a break, it would take us approximately 2,854 years to read the amount of information that the free version of ChatGPT has been trained on. If you pay that extra money and get the next version, ChatGPT 4, then at the same rate, you'd be reading for about 7,000 years to read all of the words worth of information that it's been trained on. So it's vast amounts of data. And then it essentially works a bit like a probability machine. So if you've had a smartphone for 20 years, you will have had different variations of predictive text. If you use Gmail for the last couple of years has been trying to finish off your sentences when you're writing an email, and Outlook does it now as well. It's not too different from that technology, but it's the way it's been trained that allows it to be really accurate, because it's essentially just predicting the next word or next half word in the sentence, and it gets very, very accurate because it can understand, in a way, what you are asking, and it can then use the information it's being trained on to make the probability of being accurate really, really, really good. That's what we're dealing with here. And let me just go through. I'm setting up a bit of an introduction. We are going to jump into the practical side of it very, very soon, because I've got some frameworks to share with you. I've got some best practice to share with you. But I want to set you up here to show you what you can do. So ChatGPT and other tools like Google Gemini, and I'll quickly show you Gemini right now. This is Google Gemini here. As you can see, looks a bit like ChatGPT. It's in dark mode, but I can turn it back to it being white, and it doesn't look too dissimilar from ChatGPT and works very similar to ChatGPT. I type hello into it and it'll give me a response. There we go. So very, very similar. And the AIs behind it are not the same, but they're quite close in their capability. So text in, text out, text to text, generative AI. As you witnessed with the ChatGPT, when I asked it to create a picture, there are tools where you can put text in and you get an image out, and it creates an image. And yeah, let me show you one. Is anyone familiar with this image? So this image appeared in some newspapers about midway last year, and they put it in there as a funny story. Look, the Pope's been spotted wearing a big white puffer jacket, and a funny story. Turned out it was completely fake, completely created by artificial intelligence. A tool called Midjourney, which I'm sure some of you have heard of, and if not, even used Midjourney. Now, what I mean by that is not that this software has taken a pre-existing image of the Pope and photoshopped a jacket onto him. That's not what's happened here. Now, a bit like how I said, how ChatGPT works out the probability of the next word or half word in the sentence. I don't know why some fireworks just appeared behind my head there. I don't know if any of you saw that. I think was it the hand gesture? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. But so a bit like how ChatGPT works out the probability of the next word or half word in the sentence. This works by working out the probability of the color of the next pixel in the sequence as it's making up this image. And because it's so accurate, it can create photorealistic images just like this. And if you go to a tool like Midjourney, which is generally considered to be one of the most powerful ones out there, I think it's about $8 per month. Maybe you might just want to try for 1 month to have a play around with it. And I've got a guide on how you can set it up and start using it, which I'll give you at the end of this session. Then you can start creating images like this really, really easily. Text to audio is really interesting because it's coming on in leaps and bounds. There are tools out there where you can type in the type of music, song, sounds, or voice you want to listen to, and it will create it just from typing into it. And yeah, let me show you an example.
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Oh, come on, Barbie, let's go party, 'cause I'm in a Barbie world.
Okay, that was, as some of you will know, Johnny Cash, famous American musician. Johnny Cash singing Barbie Girl. Now, did Johnny Cash ever sing Barbie Girl? He didn't. But listening to that, I mean, it was his voice singing it perfectly, all done through artificial intelligence. If you go to YouTube and type in AI cover music, you will find all sorts of weird and wonderful different types of music, artists singing other artists' songs. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Now, text to video. If you are on the pulse of the progress of AI, you will know about 3 weeks ago, OpenAI, the company who created ChatGPT, announced they're going to release a tool that will allow you to create videos just by typing into them. And they've called it Sora. And this is the type of thing it creates. So this was created just by typing in a fly through of an art gallery. And this is what this created. Sora. And we're going to get access to this in the next few weeks, hopefully. They haven't fully released it to the public, but they've been shown examples of what it's capable of. Let me give you another example. So what they did was they just typed in very simple prompt, point of view footage of an ant navigating the inside of an ant, I think that says tunnel, nest. So I've got the windows from Zoom are covering half my screen. And this is what it came up with. completely created by AI just by typing that prompt in, completely unique and bespoke, created in that moment. Now, if you know anything about insects, they don't have 4 legs, they have 6 legs. So it's not 100% accurate yet, but absolutely amazing. Let me show you another one. As they typed in a photorealistic close-up video of 2 pirate ships battling each other as they sail inside of a coffee cup, and this is what it came out with. As you can see there, the 2 ships on top of the coffee, and the waves and the way the ship's moving, all created just by typing into it the type of videos they wanted to see. Now, this technology led me to write in my book, in the AI era, we will create simply using words. Simply using words. Now, when I say that, it normally scares half the people in the room and excites the other half. Because if you're like me and don't have a creative bone in your body, this is amazing. What you can create, what you can generate, how you can express yourself. And I mean, let's even take that one step further. What about the people in our society who find it really difficult to express themselves? What about the students in our schools who have special educational needs, who really struggle to express what's going on inside of their heads? This technology could revolutionize life for those people. I mean, every image you've saw in this presentation so far, it was created with AI. I mean, the other side of it is scary as well. Let's be honest. So what about all of the people who are training in these technically creative skills? And that's not just the creative sectors. I mean, creativity is at the heart of most work, at the heart of most industries. So this is going to impact us. And I'm just going to leave it here because I don't want to just leave you overlooking that canyon. Is that a lot of the evidence suggests so far that it's actually the humans and the AI together that's getting the best results. So it's the collaboration. And that leads us really nicely into jumping into some of these tools and looking at how do we get the most out of them. And I want to introduce you to this prompt framework. Now, this has evolved over time. Back in December 2022, I was using ChatGPT, and like some of you have probably noticed, it wasn't amazing. I mean, once you get past the mind-blowing, wow, look at what it can do, look at how it's writing, suddenly you realize, actually, it's not quite relevant, or it's not exactly what I need. It might be too general, for example. Let's give it a try. So I'm going to go over to ChatGPT. And if I type into it, write a Facebook post to advertise the launch of my new product, let's say an AI app that turns song lyrics. I'm just doing this off the top of my head at the minute. An AI that turns song lyrics into artistic images. Press enter. So it's a free-flowing thought off the top of my head, right? And this is what we get. Exciting news, friends. We're thrilled to announce the launch of our brand new app, Lyric Art. Have you ever imagined what your favorite song lyric would look like as a masterpiece? Wonder no more with Lyric Art, blah, 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 blah. And there we have it. Now, if I'm just imagining if I had this type of tool, I would not be to use this. I mean, first of all, let's quickly pick it apart. Exciting news, friends, might not be the way I want to start a post. I think I probably would want it to be a bit more engaging, and get straight to the point, hook everybody in, make them want to read more. I think that's just a bit bland. Second line, I mean, I haven't given it the name of my company, so it's just made one up. Very important to know that if you don't take control of your input, it will just make it up, because you're essentially, if you don't be specific enough, you're handing over the agency to the AI. Now, in some circumstances, that might be really useful. For example, a study in America last year found that ChatGPT can be more creative than a group of humans for coming up with ideas. So you might not want to be too specific if you're using it like as a bit of a sparring partner to generate ideas. However, if you want it to do something really specific like this, you want to take control. And in fact, that led me in my book to name a chapter on prompting, outsource the doing, not the thinking. So it's all about outsource the doing, but you still need to be the main thinker. And you being the main thinker means that you need to be the main communicator. You need to get across specifically what you need. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a second, because this Facebook post is not fit for purpose. So how do we get it to be fit for purpose? So this framework started out as the PrEP framework. And it involves prop, role, explicit instructions, and parameters. Let me take you through that really quickly. So prompt is essentially, it's the introduction. So we're going to create some Facebook posts about my company. Quick introduction, and you're telling the AI what you want it to do, and then you're going to dig deeper. And then the next thing to include would be the role. And if you use ChatGPT, and you've used it for a while, and similar tools, you'll know that this is quite common now to include roles in. And essentially you're saying to it what you want it to become. So let's take our Facebook example. You might say to it, you are a world-renowned copywriter who specializes in Facebook posts and have helped businesses go from 0 to $5 million revenue in 12 months, blah, 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 blah. And you build up that character. It doesn't have to be really detailed. It could just be a single line, but you tell it who to become. Why do you do that? Because it sounds bizarre, doesn't it? Well, one of the reasons is because it's another way to get it to focus on some key information you want it to include. Remember, the free version of ChatGPT was trained on 300 billion words worth of information. We need to try and get this thing to focus. So I think of this as a bit like a funnel, and the prompt being the top of the funnel. So we introduce it. Next level, we get a bit narrower, then we get a bit more narrow, then we get a bit more narrow. And then by the end, hopefully we're getting it to be really, really specific and to focus on exactly what we need. And we do that by being specific in different ways. The role is one way, getting it to take on a role. The next way, the E in the PrEP method, is be explicit. Now, this is a bit of a catch-all term for tell it everything it needs to know. So for me in that Facebook post, it would be about, well, what's the name of the company? Maybe the price, maybe some key information about the customers. Who is the customer? What is the platform like? How do they access it? So I would want to build up a picture of the key information I want in there. At the moment, this technology can't read our minds. So we need to communicate with it well. And I love to compare this to, let's say you had an intern working for you, a really keen intern. Now, you would set them off on tasks. You'd want them to go and take a bit of agency and be creative and get them to go and do something. But if you asked them, let's say, to go do a Facebook post for your company that was going to go out public to your customers and potential customers, the chances are you're not going to use what they've come back with straight away. You're going to want to look at it. You're going to want to point out maybe some of the good points and then give them some advice on how to improve it. Maybe be a bit more specific on what to include, because maybe the first time you weren't as specific as you might have thought you were, and so on. And it becomes a conversation. So being as explicit as possible is so important. Then the second P in the PrEP method, so just looking at that first PrEP bit, is parameters. And this is things like, what tone of voice do you want it to have? Do you want it to be familiar? Do you want it to be professional? Do you want to give it a scale of familiarity or professionalism? And so on. You can also include in there the reading age. Interestingly, I learned a while ago that the Sun newspaper, which is one of the main tabloid newspapers in the UK, they try to write all of their articles at a reading age of 9 years old. Now, I mean, make of that what you will, but they're definitely going for lowest common denominator here. So you might want to think about, well, how, if I'm reaching a broad audience, how might I want to pitch the reason age of what I'm writing, and some of the formatting stuff as well. You might want to say, put this information in a table, give it a heading, give it a subheading, bullet points, whatever it is. So that's the parameters. Now, let's do that. So I'm going to go back to this now, and I'm going to type into it. Just going to try and move. Got the Zoom windows and everything all around my screen, so I'm just trying to move them out of the way so I can actually see ChatGPT. Right, let's actually, no, we'll not start again. We'll go into, let me go in there, and I'm going to just edit this prompt. So I'm going to go back to the top, click the pen icon, and I'm going to edit this. So now what I want to say is, write a Facebook post to advertise the launch of my new product. That is going to be the first P, the prompt bit of this framework. Now I need to give it a role. So let's say, we can actually get it to be a specific role if we want to. So let's say, act as the famous copywriter Gary Halbert. He's a famous copywriter. Act as the copywriter Gary Halbert. Take on his expertise and apply them to the good practice of writing promotional Facebook posts that are compelling. Okay, there we go. So I've given it a role. It's going to be Gary Halbert, take on that expertise. So we've got the prompt, we've got the role. Now we need some explicit instructions. So I'm going to say, right, this is for the launch of the song art app that turns lyrics into works of art using AI. This can be accessed at songart.com. Don't even know if that exists. What more explicit instructions that might we want to give it? The audience is, let's say, teenagers that are 15 years and over. What else might I want to say here? Yeah, we'll just leave that like that for now. So the parameters, I'm going to say keep it concise and to the point. Use the, what should we use? The marketing structure of Pastor, which is a structure that marketing people sometimes use. So it stands for problem, agitate the problem, by the solution, mention the transformation. I believe the last one is opportunities and response. Right at a reading age of, let's say, 13 years old. And let's see what we get this time. Now, obviously, I'm just pulling out examples here. You're going to have very specific examples to what you do and what you might use this technology for. So introducing song art, your lyrics, your masterpiece. Nice, I like that line. In fact, what I would probably do is, and this is where the collaboration bit comes in, I would probably take away that first bit and just have your lyrics, your masterpiece, something like that. And you can see it's put it into the structure by putting the problem, agitate, solution, and so on. I'm going to want to take those words out because I just want it to flow as one post. And there we go. And it's much better response. I mean, if you look at that compared to what we had earlier, it's focused on what I want it to focus on. And actually the copywriting style of it, the way it's written, because I asked it to be Gary Halbert, that famous copywriter, is a lot better. Now, it's not 100%, but it's so much better. Now we're going to go on a more advanced journey now, okay? This is a masterclass, so we're going to get to that level now. What the prep method does is it allows you to have quite a good transactional relationship with a tool like ChatGPT. And what do I mean by that? Well, it means, I mean, if you look at that prep framework, it's essentially you saying, this is what we're going to do. This is who I want you to be. This is what I want you to include. This is how I want you to do it. Do it for me. It's a very one-directional way of doing things. It's transactional. You do this, give it to me. Thank you very much. Now, the way we get the most out of these tools is not through the transactional, although we might want to start there. It's actually through the conversational. And if you think about it, it makes sense because just like talking to another human being, it's actually through the conversation. It's the back and forth that we get deeper and deeper and deeper. And it allows, let's say me and you were having a conversation, the more we spoke, the more we would understand each other. The more we spoke and dug down into a topic, and we'd understand each other's points of views, and we'd kind of understand the angle we each other were coming from, and would be to respond in a better way and have a more meaningful conversation. And it's the same with this. So a very transactional, I mean, it's you go into a shop and order something from the counter. It's a transactional thing. I would like that, please, and they give it to you. You've had a conversation in a way, but it's not the most amazing interaction you'll have ever had. The way you get this thing to understand you is through the conversation. You could also almost call it relational. And the next three parts turn it into that. And it's based on evidence from a report that came out in November 2023. So I took that latest research and extended the prep framework to the prepare framework. And the first bit is ask. So simply saying to this, and I'm going to go over to this example here, but simply saying to this something like, ask me some questions that will help you write a better Facebook post. Write these in concise bullet points, and I put that in because sometimes it can waffle on a bit, it can go on a bit too much, and I don't want to read paragraphs of questions. I just want some really concise questions. So press enter. So it's thinking about it. Now it's going to come back to me with some precise questions in bullet points that it thinks, actually, if I had the answer to these, I would be able to make a much better Facebook post. Now, you might look at that and go, oh, I don't want to answer all of that. It's going to take a lot of time. So you could easily get it to, right, let's select the 3 questions that will have the most impact. So I'm getting it to focus now, focus even further down onto those bullet points. And essentially what you're doing here is you're taking the agency of the conversation. You're the person who's got the agency, and you're sharing it with the AI. You're getting it to think for itself, to reflect, to self-analyze its response, to evaluate its response. And that turns it into a conversation. It's not a one-way transactional deal anymore. this is a conversation. And it's give us some questions. And I might want to answer those questions. And if I answer those questions, it's going to be able to give us a more insightful, meaningful response. Now, in the same vein of that, and I'll go back to this, you've got the R, which is the rate. And now this kind of does the job of the ask, but in a much more deeper and in a way that you can measure a bit more easily. So let me come back over. So for the rate, you might just want to type in, and this will apply to pretty much any prompt after you've got your response. Rate your Facebook post on a scale of 1 to 10. Also, give me the criteria in a table of your grid. So this time I'm saying, right, you're going to do some real self-evaluation here. You're going to create a criteria to determine what a good Facebook post is going to be. And then you're going to grade your own Facebook post based on that criteria. And you can see it doing it right in front of you now in this table. And it's give itself a 7 out of 10. So it's measuring how attention grabbing, the clarity of message, engagement, relevance, the pastoral framework that I asked it, creativity, call to action, adherence to brand voice, and so on. And it's give itself a 10 for most of those a 7 for most of those categories, apart from the top one, which is 8. So now you have got an insight into this. And you might think to yourself, well, actually, I don't agree with how the criteria should be for this. You might want to go in and change the criteria. And you would just do that by typing into it, change the clarity of message for this, and it'll change it. And then after that, you could type something in to say, okay, now aim for a 10 out of 10. And I'm going to type something in, which is a little tip. You can type things in like, take a pause and a deep breath and go. Now, bizarre, I know, but typing something like that in has been proven to get better responses. Now let's see what it comes up with. Okay, interesting. It's made up a testimonial there. So for the sake of ethics, if you do something like this, you might want to jump in and change that to an actual testimonial. Okay. Now you can read that and judge, is it better, is it not better? You might need to change the criteria. Now let's go to the last bit, which is the E, the emotions. Now this will be bizarre because in this research paper, they found that if you appeal to its emotions, you will on average get a 10% better response. And the wording that they found worked best was, my job is in danger if this is not a good answer. So you type that in and it tries to, I think it's because it's designed to please. It's designed to want to do as best job as possible. And it's actually trained a bit like a dog's trained. It gets digital rewards when it does things right. So you up the stakes, albeit with emotion, but if you up the stakes, it will try even better to get there and to meet that new standard that you've set. So I might type in, now try again, but make sure it is amazing because my job depends on this. Just some of the quirks of this technology. Now, will this always be around? Will we always interact with it like this? Who knows? But at the moment, this is one of the quirks that gets it to go a little bit further and a little bit better. And I suppose if you're in a marketing department or you're doing marketing for your own business, let's say, you want to get the edge on whoever else is using this technology as well. So knowing how to prompt in this way might really help. Okay. And again, this is a collaboration. So based on how I use this, even when I get to this point now, I'm still probably going to need to copy and paste it out to Facebook or to a Google Doc or wherever, and still then go through and make some edits myself, just so I know it's exactly how I want it and how I want to portray my company. So there's always that collaborative element. There's the collaborative element from you in terms of you prompting and getting more specific, maybe using the prepare framework. Then there's also the you maybe just taking it and editing it manually at the end of that as well. Yeah, it was interesting. I was talking to I speak to a lot of people who are using this technology. And just to give you one example, I was talking to one of the creative designers at Jaguar Land Rover, so the company who make Land Rovers, and they were saying that for probably about the last year and a half now, when they're designing a new car, it's probably about 80% AI and 20% human designers, and they collaborate with it. That 20% of the human is kind of iterating with it. It's getting it going, and then it's also at the end of it working with it as well. So that collaboration is so essential. And you can do this with all sorts of things. And you might want to get it to, let's say you've got your own company. You might we are going to take my, let's say, $100,000 revenue company to a $500,000 revenue company in 1 year. Then you might say to it, act as a world-renowned CFO. We sell, what could we sell? I literally looked up at the wall there and saw a picture, so I'm going to put picture frames for customers who love the color black. This is really random. And then I might say, be concise and talk to me like I'm a child. Because I'm a bit worried that if it starts being a CFO, it might start using lots of technical language. Now, as you can see, I've used the prep framework. So I've prompted it, got it to roll. I've given it some explicit instructions and give it a few little parameters. This is a very, very basic version of it, as you can see. If it was actually my business, I'd probably put a lot more effort into this. But if I click enter, it could be a nice way to start, because if it's going to be conversational, got to start the conversation somewhere. And let's see what it comes out with. So it's breaking it down into different things we can do: sell more frames, introduce new products, better website, work with artists. So some of these things I might not have thought of. Smart spending, keep customers happy. And then, and I'm going to share this one last tip with you because we're about a minute out now from questions. But a nice way to do this as well is to start broad like this. So you might start with, right, just give me some general advice. Or if you work in marketing, you might say, produce a marketing plan for me for the next 2 weeks. Okay. And then it'll give you an overview, a bit like this as an overview, and then start getting specific with it. So I might look at it and think, right, a better website. Tell me how I can create a better website. So delve in deeper, deeper, deeper. And then I might want to come all the way back out and then delve in on another area. So it's sometimes nice to think of this as kind of a zooming out, zooming back in on different areas. And again, every time you do that, every time you zoom in, you're getting it to be a bit more specific, and then you can bring in what you've learned through the prepare method to get better results out of it. So it's going to tell me, make it pretty. It's going to, all of this. And then I could even get down to the point where I say to it, right now, write the copy for the website. suggest an image for the website. I can even get it to create the images for the websites, zoom back out and go into another area. I'm going to leave it there. I've got loads of resources in a resource pack at ws.theaieducator.io if you scan that QR code. Some of them are for educators. If you've got children, again, you might want to look at that because you could work with your kids on that. But it's got the prepare framework in there. It's got some strategy things in there about how you might want to start strategizing for this technology and some cool prompts in there as well. And I will leave it there. Thank you very much, everyone. And looking forward to taking some of your questions.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was such an amazing presentation, such an interesting one. I had also been following as you were doing it. Really nice to have that. We have some questions on the chat already. I'll just read it out here. This is by Nandipa. In the light of the prepare framework to guide the product, what is your advice for researchers, supervisors, and educators?
What is the advice when using the prepare framework? Is that right?
Yes.
I think try it out. By no means is that framework fully comprehensive for a number of reasons. First of all, the technology changes regularly, so you might get different responses the next time you use that framework. And secondly, this is not a science, and it's not. And I think this is where technology is changing vastly. That it's not going to be we type in a certain word or phrase in a certain way, and we're going to get an exact response that's predictable. Now, computer coding, that's what happens with computer coding, isn't it? That's how you type into it, and that's the type of response you get. And if you're not getting what you want, then there's obviously an error in how you've written the code. The difference here is that it's conversational, so it's trial and error all the time. And you might not want to use all the prepare framework. You might just think, oh, I'll just use the role bit and the explicit instructions bit, and then maybe go into the more evaluative side of it. That's perfectly fine. I think you've got to find what works with you, just like you can't copy someone else's conversational style. You might learn how to communicate with other people by getting tips and watching other people converse, but actually to be authentic, you find your own voice. And I think it's probably quite similar here. I notice I just followed up there. I've just got the chat open. So please remember that students will not know the framework. What is your advice for students and supervisors? Good point. Buy the book. The framework's in there. I mean, when I work with educators, I show them the framework. I don't necessarily say teach it to your students, although they probably wouldn't go far wrong if they did. But yeah, I think schools in addressing the advances that are going to come from AI have got a few jobs on their hands right now. One of them is going to be showing them how to prompt and how to get the most out of it, out of tools like this, because they're very soon going to be in industry and they're going to find that these skills are going to come in really, really handy. I've just tried that website, and it's not working. I'm going to find another link to it. I'll send you it. Give me 2 seconds. This. Sorry, bear with me just a sec. There we go. So that link in the chat will take you to that toolbox now. Okay, hopefully, Adri, I've answered your question. It's quite broad topic, really. And I think it really goes into within education, are we going to prepare our students and prepare us as well? Because what was I reading? Was it South Korea? And some of you might know this better than I did, but South Korea, they are going to be invested in anyone over 40 years old to be able to go and retrain. and learn new skills because they're seeing this impacting the skills in the jobs market so much that they think a whole new set of skills are going to be needed. So I think we've got it's not just education for our young people, but education for all of us, I guess. We're going to need to know how to collaborate with AI.
Awesome. Here we have some more few questions here. Would you like me to read it through then?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so one question here by Oluwafemi. From your experience using with the framework so far, what is the usage rate in percentage?
What is the usage rate? What was that last bit, sorry?
Correct, yes, in
Usage in
percentage.
percentage. So from your experience using the framework so far, what is the usage rate in percentage? I don't know what that means. Do you mean from the people I share it with who uses what percentage of them actually use it? Is that what that means?
Maybe something statistical. But if you don't have the data right now, you can always share it later on.
Yeah, I don't really know what data is being asked there, but yeah, I know. So when I do workshops, I know I think a lot, like I said, a lot of people will take this and start to use it, but then they'll figure out their own way as well. I mean, the Prepare framework was my own personal way to try and get the most out of AI when I first started. And then when I started writing the book, I thought, well, I'll put it in because it's been really, really handy for me and really useful. And I think we probably and I share it as a framework, and a framework is just that. It doesn't have to be. There's a lot more detail that goes with it, as you will have noticed when I was writing those prompts. And so you've got to make it your own. You've got to, again, trial and error, ask it certain things, change how you ask it. And also the order. It doesn't necessarily have to be in that order. I know some people who use the Prepare framework all in one big prompt. So I was going back and forth and being more conversational with it. Some people just do it all in one big prompt. So figure out, I think it's the elements under the framework. It's the kind of the nuances of how to communicate with it under each of the parts of the framework that matter more than the actual framework itself. So yeah, and I know a lot of people who I've worked with who now use this on a regular basis. I don't have any stats because that would probably be a full-time job that I just don't have at the moment to collect those stats.
Yes, it might be hefty work as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, one Victor is asking, how do we start to strategize what we cannot predict?
That's a good question. That's a whole other session. For me, it comes down to a couple of things. It comes down to culture, in how you prepare your culture to be able to try new things, fail, and then not be upset about the failure, but just pivot and move on to the next thing. I think it's about. Now, I work with organizations that aren't very agile. The education system is not very agile. It's traditional. It's been the same for a few hundred years. It's a really, really difficult system or organization to try and change. Many people have tried, many people have failed. And for that reason, it's so far behind, I believe. So what I do when I work with those types of organizations is I will look at how do we claim some of that agility back? How do we claim some of that ability to fail and it not be disastrous, for example? And so when I work with a company, I will get them to create what I call a box 3 group. It goes with the strategy. So that's not going to mean anything to you because it's part of the strategy that I share. But essentially, it's a startup group within an organization, and it's given that group of people the ability to research, try out new things, to fail, to still have the resources after failure to try again, and then when they come across something, to start to have the freedom to influence the rest of the organization and to start to bring the rest of the organization along with them. And it's a difficult process, especially within the confines that I work within in education. But I know a lot of businesses that aren't educational businesses who do it successfully, and you find a lot of the most innovative companies do that successfully. Like Google, I don't think they do it anymore, but they used to have the 80-20 time where For 20% of the time, employees could work on anything they wanted. And I think it used to be on a Friday. So Monday to Thursday, they would do their normal job. On a Friday, they could work on anything they wanted, any project they wanted. And a lot of Google products came from that 20% time because it just allowed employees to experiment with things. There wasn't going to be a line manager pulling them up on their errors, their mistakes. They could just try things, fail, move on. And a lot of really cool Google tools came from that. I think the Google Cardboard, the VR, first Google VR headset came from that. So yeah, I think it's about allowing our employees or ourselves to to try things out, to be in a mental place or a cultural place of knowing that we're here to experiment, and if it fails, it fails. But there's always going to be things that could come along and disrupt us, and even more so in the next few years. And if we aren't trying things out, then we're probably certain with failure anyway. So we may as well try things out and see if we can find solutions within them. So yeah, it's a tough one, but I think it mainly comes down to the strategy and the culture of some of the businesses that we see, some of the most innovative businesses, some of the most innovative startups. We've got a lot to learn from them. But yeah, I'll leave that there. Any more questions?
Yeah, very interesting viewpoint then. Thank you. There is a practical type of question. If you have the time, it's asking, could you please show one prompt which generates pure technical content like a solution architecture on cloud?
No.
Okay,
I
no
don't really
worries.
know. To be honest, I don't really know what that means. So why
Mhm.
don't you try it? You try it out and see how how far you get with it. But yeah, I'll leave that in your hands.
Okay, so moving on here, we'll make this as the last question maybe. So it's asking, can you suggest some tools which help us to prepare better PowerPoint with images, etc., other than GPT-4?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me show you one which I absolutely love, which is called Gamma.app. And essentially, you click Create New. You can import a file, or you can paste in text, or you can just get the AI to generate it. So you could type in here, launch of a new AI app that turns lyrics into art. Click Generate Outline. And then it creates an outline very quickly. So how that happened within a fraction of a second. It generated an outline of the presentation. Now I can decide, do I want it to have brief amount of text, a medium amount of text, detailed, where the images come from, whether they be from Google or AI generated images. Then I click continue, choose a style, click generate, and then before our eyes, it's going to create that presentation for us. There we go. I think it's done 4 slides there. There we go. It was having a bit of a rest there. It's coming back into it now. And the great thing about this is that you can actually edit it really, really simply. So if I just click anywhere, I can start editing the text. I can change the images out just by clicking on them. And I can add different elements by using the side panel bar. And if I don't want to edit it manually, I can just click the AI assistant, start talking to it, and ask it to edit it for me. Again, when you get it to generate this for you, it's never going to be the finished product. It's about that collaboration. I like it. I like it as a starting point, really, to get ideas going. But like I say, I'd never use the first iteration that it gives me. And again, just like I said before, the more specific you are with your prompts, the better the output's going to be, even on this type of tool as well. The quality of the input always dictates the quality of the output. And I'll leave it there.
That is so helpful. Then I would myself be using this as well. Thank you so much again. So yeah, we are out of time, unfortunately. Wish we could take all the questions, but the time is very less. So we'll move on here and we'll close with the session. Just before we close here, would you like to put in some ending statement from yourself, Dan?
I think I come into this webinar not knowing who you are and like the people who are with us right now. I don't know your experience of using AI. And I imagine it's probably quite a broad spectrum, but I think wherever you are, and I've been using this for a long time, wrote books on it, and I still consider myself quite a novice. I don't think there are full professionals on this yet. It's just everybody trying to find out new things, how to prompt it in different ways, passing on that advice. So it doesn't matter if this is the first time you've ever used it or you're using it for the millionth time right now. Keep pushing yourself, because I sometimes think that the limitations on these types of tools are our own imagination. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan. It has been a pleasure having you, and hopefully we can arrange another session with you in the future. Yes, so we'll move on ahead here, and then if you have the time, do join us for this gamification. So we'll just be sharing the links here. Yeah, you can see the link on the chat box. What we will do is we will be playing a quick game of tic-tac-toe. So obviously, I am sure that every one of you are aware about this game. And how we will be going through is you can click on the link, and once you click on the link, you will find the login page, and from there you will be able to sign up. So this will be the page that you will see. For the people watching live on our socials, our colleagues would have left the link and the session ID on the chat box. So you can click there, you can check the comments, and you can click the link there, and you can sign up for that. Here you on this login page, do not log in. You can just click on sign up, and then you can enter the details. The session ID for today's game is 1743. So you can try this. Once you sign up, you will be entering a dashboard of the gamification platform. Just a quick information that the gamification platform is provided to us by our partner, Novel Vista, and thank you so much to them for this platform. So here you will see the game that is TTT, that is tic-tac-toe, and the games, all the questions in the games will be under Gen AI in prompt engineering. So you will receive all the games there, or use all your learnings that you had from this session in the game, because one winner will be getting a $400 word certification from GSDC. So yes, please start registering. I will stop sharing my screen here and share the game dashboard. And if you have any questions about registering here, you can just leave us a comment on the chat box. We'll give it a few minutes until everyone has registered. So you can see my screen here and all the players joining in. If you haven't registered yet, do register soon. We will close the registration in about 1 minute, and we'll start with the game. So the game, just to explain about the game, it will be a tic-tac-toe. If you are not aware of this game, it's just the XO game where you have to align the X's and the O's. However, in this game, you will be answering the questions which will appear on the board when you click on any of the tic-tac-toe board. Password, it's 1743. 1743. That is the session ID. So once you enter that, you will be able to see your, you'll be able to enter the dashboard. I am sending it here again, the link and the session ID. For those watching live, please feel free to join us. The link and the session ID will be on the comment. So you can check the comment and enter for this game. I'll give you some few more seconds for some more people to join. If you have already played this game and you have already won before, then we will have to move the winner to the next next winner, because we won't be able to provide 2 vouchers to the same person. So if you have already won, then please apologies from our side. But yeah, you're already a winner, so don't mind us. And if you are joining here for the first time, do your best. You will be getting a chance for the $400 voucher, and you will be certified with GSDC there. So yes, a few more seconds. Let me do a countdown until we start. From 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I have started the quiz. Now you will be able to play. You can start playing the game. You can start answering the questions. Please make sure that you choose the right question. Okay, for the time, we will give it 2 minutes. Under 2 minutes, you have to answer all the questions. And yes, I've started the timer, so you can start answering the questions. If you want to check the leaderboard, you can come back to the Zoom page to check your leaderboard. We have quite a few more players here, and I see that Mr. Rajiv Singh is leading right now. Okay, if your email is not working to join the link, then you would have to use another email, or you have to check your mailbox inbox for your credentials, since you would have played earlier as well. If you have your credentials, then you can enter the same thing on the login page. If you have lost your credentials, you can always use a dummy email to enter the game. But make sure that your name is properly mentioned as it is, and we will send you the link to connect with us after this game. An information that the winner will be chosen in terms of the highest point, and also the one who finishes the quiz earliest. So if 2 of you have the same points, the one who finished the quiz earlier would be the winner. So we have another high scorer here with Abhishek Chaudhary is leading right now. We have some few more minutes, around 20 seconds, 20 seconds left to go. If you haven't finished playing yet, maybe you should hurry up with the questions. Since everyone is playing, I'll give it another 10 seconds here, an extra 10 seconds to complete your questions. So I will just do the countdown now. I hope everyone is ready. I'm doing the countdown in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm ending the quiz here. Please check your leaderboard, the winner board here. Now you can see the winners, the top 3 winners, Abhishek, Mohammed, and Raju. Congratulations to each of you. You will be entering the GSDC Wall of Fame. And to Abhishek, the top player, you are the winner of the $400 worth certificate. So you can reach out to us, and we will discuss more about how you can claim this. on email or on LinkedIn as well. We'll send the links on the chat box. In the meantime, would any one of you like to share about your experience, your takeaways about this gamification? Please, you are welcome to unmute yourself.
This is Abhishek here. I
Hi,
think the
Abhishek.
session was very informative in terms of because some of us have undergone trainings, but the way Dan structured it and gave it a framework, I think it was very essential to understand that, and then that can surely help us to frame better prompts. I think that was a key learning for me, at least in terms of a prepare framework that Dan presented.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. Such a great sharing. Thank you so much again. We'll get in touch with you soon. So yes, congratulations again to the winner. The second and third winner will be listed on the Wall of Fame, the GSDC Wall of Fame. So we will get in touch with both of you as well. And with this, we will end the quiz. If you want to check your points, you can scroll down here and you will see the points that you have scored. For those people who could not join this game, please don't worry. We have another session on the I believe on the 28th of March, and you can join that time in order to play the game again, of course, to listen to another amazing speaker, and the topic will be on project management. So if you do have any of your colleagues into project management, then you can invite them as well and play the game. We will do the gamification again on that session. So yes, with that, thank you so much for being with us on this session. We had an amazing time. We will be publishing the recording of the session on our YouTube channel. If you want the link to our YouTube channel, you can always reach out to us on our LinkedIn, or you can contact me or directly on email also. I will be happy to connect with you. Also, we would be so appreciative of any of your takeaways on the Trustpilot. We will share the link on the chat box. Please do leave us your takeaways of this session. And if you are interested to connect with more like-minded people interested in generative AI, then do join our LinkedIn group. We have shared the link on the chat box and you can directly join there. You can also connect with the speaker of today, Mr. Dan, and we have shared the link on the chat box. You can connect with him on LinkedIn as well for more questions. And if you want to connect with me, and also to the winners, if you would like, please connect with me. My email is shared on the chat box, and you can we can discuss about how you can claim your prizes there. So thank you so much again. Until we see you again on the 28th of March, I will leave with this, and I hope that everyone have a wonderful week ahead. And yes, we'll see you again. Thank you so much.